Okay, so today we're going to take a deep dive into something pretty interesting coming out of the Chinese tech world.
All right, sounds good.
We've got this article, China's DeepSeek faces questions over claims after shaking up global tech. And it piqued my interest because of the attention they're getting and the lack of specifics about what they're actually doing.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. That's a pretty bold headline.
It is, right? Like shaking up global tech is a big statement, and I'm really curious to unpack what that means.
Definitely. And it makes you wonder what kind of claims they're making to justify that kind of language.
Exactly. And then there's this added layer of intrigue because you've got big names like Elon Musk and Palmer Luckey, the Oculus guy,
Oh, yeah. You know what I mean?
taking notice. And that really makes you wonder what DeepSeek is up to, right? Like what kind of tech could a Chinese company be developing that's getting these guys excited?
Well, thinking about Musk and Lucky, their interests kind of point in a certain direction.
In what way?
Well, Musk is obviously all about AI and pushing the boundaries there with OpenAI and Neuralink. And then you've got Lucky, who's focused on virtual reality and the metaverse.
So you're thinking DeepSeek could be working on something related to those areas.
It's possible, right? If they're on the radar of these guys, it has to be something pretty cutting edge.
That makes sense. So we're talking maybe like significant advancements in brain-computer interfaces or some kind of revolutionary new virtual reality experience.
Exactly. That kind of stuff would definitely shake things up, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. It'd be like Tesla forcing the entire auto industry to go electric, but on a maybe even larger scale.
Essentially even bigger. Because think about it. What other industries could be ripe for this kind of disruption?
It's hard to even speculate
Right.
because we don't know the specifics of DeepSeek's claims. But if we're talking AI, healthcare could be a prime target.
Totally. Advanced diagnostics, personalized medicine, maybe even AI-driven drug discovery.
And then there's robotics. I mean, if they're developing sophisticated robots capable of complex tasks.
Oh, yeah. You could see that transforming everything from manufacturing to agriculture.
Okay, but the article also mentions questions over claims. And that adds another layer to this whole thing.
Yeah, because some level of skepticism is totally normal with any big tech announcement.
Of course, but how do we interpret that with DeepSeek?
Well, I think we need to be careful to differentiate healthy skepticism from just outright dismissing them.
Right, because in tech, hype often gets ahead of reality.
Exactly, and we've seen that time and time again.
Remember all the buzz around blockchain a few years ago?
Oh, yeah, tons of potential.
Yeah.
But a lot of the initial claims kind of fizzled out.
Right, and maybe that's what we're seeing with DeepSeek. Maybe there's some substance there, but also a lot of hype, and the questions could be about whether they can actually deliver.
That's a very real possibility, especially when you're dealing with cutting-edge tech. Scaling those innovations and actually making them commercially viable is often the hardest part.
Definitely. And then you have to factor in the geopolitical landscape. A Chinese tech company making these kinds of claims is bound to attract scrutiny.
Absolutely, especially from Western governments and competitors.
Data security will be a big concern, intellectual property, even national security.
You're hitting all the big ones.
So this whole situation is pretty complex. We have what appears to be a potentially game-changing company, but they're also shrouded in secrecy, facing skepticism, and navigating a really tricky geopolitical landscape.
Yeah, it's a fascinating case study for sure.
And I think for our listeners, the key takeaway here is to approach all of this with informed curiosity.
I totally agree. Don't get swept up in the hype, but stay informed about DeepSeek and how their story develops.
Pay attention to whether their claims are actually substantiated, how they handle international scrutiny, all of that.
Exactly. It's almost like watching a high-stakes poker game where the players are holding their cards really close.
We know the stakes are huge, but the hand DeepSeek is playing remains a mystery.
And that mystery is kind of what makes this whole thing so intriguing.
Right. Will they live up to the hype, or will they fizzle out like so many before them?
That's the big question, and only time will tell.
But for now, I think we can all agree that DeepSeek is a company to watch because they just might be the ones to reshape the world as we know it.
I couldn't agree more.
All right, well, that's our deep dive for today. Thanks for listening.
See you next time.